Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our regular council meeting concluding the month of February. It's Wednesday, February the 28th. For those of you who are keeping track, it's National Tooth Fairy Day. There you go. Want to take that home and share that with everybody. For those of you that are joining us virtually, we welcome you. For those that have decided to be with us in person, I would like to share with you that all cell phones are to be shut off or put on vibrate. If you feel that you need to check the weather or connect with a family member or friend while the meeting is in progress, I would ask that you step out in your room out there, conversations. I would also advise you that the speakers are in the ceiling where you see the green dots up there. They are very lively. They pick up everything. So even whispering. So I just caution you on that. There's a public washroom just outside the door where you entered this evening, as well as the emergency exits. They're located in the door that you came in, as well as the one here to your right. To the parking lot, and as well for council, there's one behind us, as you are aware, that takes us to the back parking lot. In case of an emergency, we will meet across the street at the ballpark. So I would like to advise you that this meeting is being streamed live and recorded for public viewing on the town's YouTube website. We acknowledge that this land on which we are gathered today is part of the ancestral land of the Chippewa, the Ottawa, and the Potawatomi peoples, referred to collectively as the Anishinaabe. It is through the connection of the Anishinaabe with the spirit of the land, water, and air that we recognize their unique cultures, traditions, and values. Together as treaty people, we have a shared responsibility to act with respect for the environment that sustains all of life, protecting the future for those generations to come. First item of business is item 3.1. Clerk, do we have, I would like to advise everyone on council, if you have a pecuniary interest, to declare it at the appropriate time. Clerk, do we have a delegation this evening?
We do. We have either individually or both Hannah Jacques and Nikki Strauss from the Kamalaki Summer Send-Off with their proposal for this year.
Okay, so Hannah and or Nikki.
Oh, I couldn't see her.
They're both behind me.
Here.
They kind of look the same.
That was not planned.
Feel free to take.
But it's not an accident.
Yes.
Well, welcome, and what would you like to share with us this evening?
We are just requesting the use of Lakeshore Park again this year for our event to be held again on Saturday, September 14th, between the hours of 10 to 4. We would need the park from about 7 a.m., 8 a.m.
Yeah, 7 a.m.,
until probably 5 or 6 p.m. To hold our event.
Okay. Council, any questions? To my right, Councilor Bojan.
Do you need any time, like the day before for setup or anything? Or like, would it help to have time for setup the day before, just so you're not rushed?
We did set up the night before last time, but I don't think we need special access or anything like that. It was just us going and measuring out the spaces.
Yeah, we did receive keys from Al the night before. He came and met me around 6 p.m. I think, and gave me the keys to the gates that open up. Yeah.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Councilor Basie?
Yes, is that our fair weekend again?
I believe it is.
Is there any way we could move it away from the fair weekend?
That
was the only, because my daughter was split between going to it and going to York, so that was.
Here's the whole weekend, so we feel like there's still access for people to be able to go to both. We did reach out to the coordinator of the fair, Lauren Armstrong, and asked her how we could better support each other's events going forward so that we could cross promote and try to send people their direction as well. So we don't feel that it takes away from either event, having them on the same date. The weekend before is Rotary Art in the Park. And a lot of our vendors are in that one, so we don't want to have it the week before. And the weekend after is, we feel too late in the month that you get really dicey weather typically.
Mr. Rodriguez, any questions?
Thank you. No, excited. Have it again. You mentioned you spoke with the fair.
She seems quite excited about that, actually.
It's good. So you guys will have more communications on it.
Yeah.
Deputy,
No, just good luck.
Thank you.
Mr. Van Claveren,
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Go get them. Yep,
Awesome.
steam ahead.
Councilor Wabet.
I attended your event last year and it was very interesting and successful. So the only question I would ask, have you had any, did you get any complaints at all? Parking or any complaints at all that you be making improvement this year?
Yeah, actually, we did have one that we were gonna focus on as well as the bathroom situation, just because there were so many patrons. We had just over 1,200 come through last year. And only a couple, there were washrooms across the street, which are nice, and there is the porta potty in the corner there, but I don't think a lot of people knew that that was accessible that day. So we'll have to have further conversations on that as well. I know one washroom, one stall broke during the day, and that was unfortunate because there was just so many people in and out and kids as well. So it was difficult with the amount of people for sure.
That's great. But then you've recognized that. Yeah, wish you all the best.
Thanks.
I guess the only thing I have is that you will probably have to work with an agreement with the town on that as well, that you did last time. So. What is that, and bring that back to us? Ready to go.
So seeing the positive nature of council tonight, staff will develop a similar agreement to what we had last year with the Summer Send-Off ladies. Bring that back at a future council meeting for approval, so work through the details.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Welcome. Council, we're gonna go to item 5.1 on your agenda. Motion by Councilor Rodriguez, seconded by Councilor Van Claveren, that the report by Paul De Silva, Director of Public Works, dated January the 22nd, 2024, regarding boil water advisory, cause and future mitigation be received as information. Mr. De Silva is here this evening with us. Mr. De Silva, do you have anything further to add to your report? Because I know council's had a chance to review it.
Through your worship, this report was presented to the Environmental Services Committee with some discussion. We have put in place a few measures to mitigate any potential for future occurrences as detailed in the report. As noted as well, there was a pressure reducing valve that has malfunctioned. Laws is now going to be completing regular maintenance on that. And then the locate procedure from Jacobs was updated and revised for the future as well.
Councilor Basie?
Yes, thank you, your worship. So the repairs were all taken care of by Burnham, who are responsible for this, which includes any cost for boiling water notifications.
Mr. De Silva?
So again, for your worship, the result of the water main break was a faulty locate. So Burnham took care of those repairs, and then Laws is taking care of the, they took care of the repair to the PRV, the pressure reducing valve, as well as putting a system in place to do regular checks on it in the future so that it doesn't happen again. But unfortunately, this was an unfortunate event that resulted from a lack of utility locate.
It's not costing us nothing.
It's not going to cost us anything.
Thank you.
Councilor Rodriguez?
Thank you. I believe I read that Jacobs is responsible for the faulty locate. Not Burnham, but Burnham ended up causing the damage because of Jacobs. And Jacobs was taking full responsibility, correct? Now, you said that in lieu of the costs incurred, that waived, but what I couldn't find was what were those costs versus what we're going to waive for the remainder to understand if it's balanced.
Yeah, again, through your worship. So the actual costs from Burnham haven't been fully realized at this point. They're being negotiated. What Jacobs has offered to do is waive their out of scope costs, so additional costs that would have been charged to the town at 2023 year end as compensation. So if we do get a bill from Burnham, we don't know exactly what that would be, but Jacobs has offered to reduce their amount that they would have charged the town for all of those out of scope charges So that would basically waive.
Okay, so you feel that cost is gonna be
Yeah.
greater than the cost of the repair?
Exactly.
Due to the number of locates and the or the fiber optic projects, those costs have traditionally been over $50,000 for the last 2 years. So it has been a notable amount the last number of years. Likely to be a notable bit.
I think one of the things that came up from this incident was the cooperation that we received from staff, Jacobs, firefighters going door to door in our works department as well, notifying our residents when it happened. And at the same time, when the event was cleared. And that was good cooperation. And again, thank you to your department for that. And Chief, I know you've shared that with your firefighters as well, so it worked very well. Thank you for that. Okay, the motion on the floor, those in favor? Council, we're going to go to item 5.2. A motion by Councillor Rodriguez, seconded by Councillor Van Claveren. That the report by Adam Sabansky, Chief Administrative Officer, dated February the 22nd, 2024, regarding the Huron Shores Optimist Community Project proposal be received, and that council endorses partnering with the Huron Shores Optimist to increase the recreational opportunities in the Kamlaki area and supports the Huron Shores Optimist Club in their fundraising activities. Direct staff to work with the Huron Shores Optimist to form a committee consisting of members of council, town staff, Huron Shores Optimists, the Kamlaki Athletic Association, coordinate public consultation, find the facility design, gain accurate quotations, formalize the budget, and develop a funding plan. Requires that a minimum 50% of the project funding be raised through fundraising activities by the Huron Shores Optimists prior to commencing the project. Alternate funding arrangements must be considered by the Huron Shores Optimists. Direct staff to work with the Huron Shores Optimists and the town's legal counsel to develop an agreement to facilitate the project. Staff be directed to develop a budget for a Parks and Recreation Master Plan considered during the 2025 budget deliberation. Council, you've had the opportunity to review that. And I know many questions that you had submitted before, and hopefully they are answered. Before I proceed any further, Mr. Sabansky is the author of this report. Is there anything that you'd like to say?
Yes, your worship. I'd just like to note to the community and to council that the report was written basically to respond to council's questions and comments that arose from the proposal from the Optimist Club. And to provide a way forward from that proposal. Also, I'd like to note that I've received some additional information. In my report, I noted that there would be an $80,000 cost for servicing to the municipality. I was informed that the Optimist didn't include servicing in their proposal, so that $80,000 cost is not applicable in the report.
Thank you, Mr. Sabansky. Now, we do have a representative here from the Huron Shores Optimists in attendance this evening. I know, council, that some of you have had an extra information session, but if there's further clarification needed, I'm sure they're more than willing to for any questions that you may have. Also, I'm going to ask you to keep your questions short, concise, and to the point. I'll allow 2 questions each before we move on to the next counselor. I'm going to begin on my left. Councillor Wolvet, you're first. Do you have any questions?
Actually, I think, well, everything in the report here, Mr. Mayor, that CEO has spelled out. Now, I will just say that there's several hurdles to be jumped over here. But I do believe if there's a will, there's a way. If there's a way, we will. So until we get over those hurdles, and you guys know them all in this report, you've read them the same as I have. There's not a whole lot I can say about it because we need to resolve those issues like receipts, the exempt receipts for donations and stuff like that. And until that's resolved, I mean, even in the response back to us counselors, if those things don't happen, this can't go forward is what I read. There's may not go forward. So that's got to be resolved. So the recommendation of a committee is going to have to resolve these issues so for me to go in a bunch of detail here on all this staff report, I just don't think I can speak to it because I don't know what the resolve is going to be for these major issues. Until we get that, kind of puts me on hold for sure. But anyway, I think it's a great idea. And hopefully we can resolve it and with you guys and move forward.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Van Claveren.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Firstly, welcome to all our neighbors from Kamlaki and surrounding areas in support of the outdoor rink proposal. We're glad you're here. Your enthusiasm and zeal for this project is being very much felt by us on council, myself personally. I couldn't agree more that improvements can be made to complement the community center, baseball diamonds, library and museum. And it's certainly true that more can be done to help. I do have a number of questions, going to limit it to two. In the question and comments document, you stated you're not really open to compromise of design or features with a couple of exceptions. I quote, "In fact, it is the only facility that we are prepared to put our name on." I'm wondering if your spokesman could speak to that.
Molten, will you be the spokesman for the group?
Sure. Yeah, thanks, through your worship. I mean, once again, we've been working 3 years for this project. It's not a new thing. We have a lot of talent in our club. We've been to a lot of professionals. We have, as I said, a lot of professionals in our club. It's not something that we've just dreamt overnight. We've done a lot of work on it. Our philosophy was not reinventing the wheel. The wheel is already made in Sault Ste. Marie. We wanted to model it from that. The product that we have put forth is a product that we believe that the community deserves. To make it smaller, to do things like that. I mean, once again, it's the product that we feel at the end, what we want to, what we want to present to the community. Yeah, absolutely. There's a few things that we'd be willing to deal with. I mean, I don't believe that we would not want to have a roof on it. We won't, I don't believe that we wouldn't want to have boards. The reasons that we've come up with what we need to have for the facility. And once again, I mean, the club has offered to pay for the facility. So the price of the facility itself is going to be paid for. So whether we have it, we want it to look nice. We want it to, we want to be proud of the product that we're presenting. So, I mean, I agree with a committee. But although it seems like we're back to where we were in principle years ago when we brought this forward. And I think that every time we seem to come and we answer the questions that are asked of us and we go back and do all the work that we need to do, which is free work, right? We're volunteers. We seem to get, as Councillor Wolovitz said, these hurdles that we keep having to jump over. So I think that, we're not set in stone exactly what, exactly the way it's going to be, but we put a lot of thought into what the product that we feel that the community needs. And that's why we've come up with that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Just hang tight. I think I'm concerned between a number of questions here. I think the one I'm going to land on here is the community center that your talented group had created back in the day and have maintained to a great degree and operated and so on. The town supplements that community center every year with tens of thousands of dollars. Have any ideas been discussed about that could be applied to the community center? And such as were maybe applied to the ice rink in the summer, like farmers markets, craft shows. Maybe it could be retrofitted for a pickleball court. Everything would be inside, everything would be quiet, no lights after dark, all those dynamics. I wonder if that had ever been entertained and to make it a money-making facility.
I would hope that maybe council would be thinking of that and staff would be thinking that as well. I mean, we maintain it, we clean it, we do whatever. The community center, it sits a lot of times empty. I've mentioned many times that that community center could be used. But I mean, once again, you're going to be relying on volunteers to organize events and to organize activities, recreational activities there. You know, in Mr. Sabansky's report, he had mentioned about a Parks and Rec possibly department. I've been a recreation therapist for 33 years. This town needs a Parks and Rec department. And they would be the ones that would be facilitating activities at the community center. That community center should be used for the benefit of our community and also to help with the wellness of our community, right? Get people there, exercise programs, doing pickleball, doing whatever. We don't own the community center, the town does. We look after cleaning it for free. So, you know, I agree, whatever can be used in the community center for parks or for recreation activities, I'm all for that, but I'm not sure how relevant it is. I mean, once again, I know that there's an issue with pickleball and possibly what noise there is and whatnot. I mean, that stuff, that sound stuff can be fixed. And to me, that's just logistics. I believe that, you know, all the barriers that keep being put in front, I believe are just small barriers. I think that we can figure out how to benefit our community the best and to make it so that the people in our community and that live around the facility won't be burdened.
Okay, thank you, Bruce. Mr. Mayor?
Thank you. Deputy?
Yeah, it appears there is a misconception out there that I am not in favor of this rink. That is untrue. With the increased growth, I realize there's a need for more recreational outlet. And because you've probably come up with that conclusion is because I questioned you at the time when you first presented that proposal at an Optimist meeting. It didn't mean I was against the rink. I questioned the location and I questioned the financing. So, and that's all. I don't want answers right now. I just want to present my case. That's all. I'm done.
Thank you, Deputy. Councilor Rodriguez?
Thank you. I do empathize and with your statement that you try to move one step forward and you kind of get stalled. I feel it's kind of unfortunate because a couple of years ago it was approved in principle, but during that time there was a lot of staffing around. There was a change of council. There were a lot of barriers that weren't intended that got in the way. So I do commend council or staff for trying to get it back on track here. I do, my first question, lucky for you, I only had 2 questions.
Lucky for you.
Well, I might have heard you. One, in reference to the statement that the town's legal counsel believes that if public funds are proposed to be used to finance the project would be subject to town's procurement policies. But in the Tilsonburg staff report, that's in there, included in here. It noted in the financial impact / funding source section of that, the permission to access and modify lands agreement was used in that particular project, which I didn't really look into what that meant. So I'm just seeking maybe some.
I'm scrolling through my extremely long report to find that page, so bear with me.
Just the report, Adam, it's page 53 or 56.
Um, 53 to 56.
Right beside that one.
They referred to it a couple times.
So the difference between the two projects as they sit today, if you look into the financial implications, that the town was in possession of 385,000 in cash that was received in donations, so not donated towards this project specifically. There was a letter of commitment from a donor from $97,250. And there was in-kind donations from local contractors in the value of 230,168. So the project was funded through 100% through donations. It was not funded using public dollars, tax dollars, i.e. And that's why they were able to use a land agreement versus a funding agreement with a lease agreement involvement, because it was funded outside of tax dollars, where this proposal would require us to utilize our reserves, which were created through tax dollars in the form of a loan to the Optimist Club, which would then be repaid for in the form of donations. So there is a slight difference because the upfront cost is being paid for by public funds, not funds specifically donated for that facility itself. So that's the difference between the proposal we have here today and the Tilsonburg. The Tilsonburg proposal was completely funded through donated kind donations.
Which leads me to question two. Thank you. Legal counsel also identified concerns with the Huron Shores legal ability to guarantee repayment of the loan and to access grant from upper levels of government. This organization, a proposed non-charity partner, has a long-standing positive reputation in the community, has a strong governance structure in place, and is a vital social procurement partner in advancing health and well-being of our community. I feel confident in the ability of this organization to fulfill its commitment to the town and the community as a whole. The membership and executive all live, volunteer, and contribute to the community, and I do applaud your creativity and exhaustive efforts in this manner. And what you just read out in that Tilsonburg staff report about the town ensure that the legacy fund has all the necessary funds in place to pay for the construction. And the amounts that they were in possession of. I did highlight a letter of commitment as part of that whole funding process. So a letter of commitment isn't necessarily money in hand, but that was included as part of their consideration. So I feel like that is an opportunity. And when I look at charitable, or in this case, we have charitable status, partnering with a nonprofit, there are a lot of criteria this organization meets. And I don't know if that's a possibility of looking at whatever more depth they have.
Through the chair, if I may. I agree with you 100%, Councillor. In my report, I did note that the Optimist is a longstanding community group, helped the municipality and the greater community numerous times. I also noted in my report that I have no concerns with them paying the town back per se. I was simply illustrating that the Optimist as an organization does not have assets, so there's no ability to provide legal guarantees of repayment. A letter does not provide a legal guarantee of payment. Our lawyer was only looking at it from a legal lens. A community lens is a much different lens. The Optimists are partners, community members. They've been with us for over 40 years and they're going to continue to be with us. So from a community lens, there's no concerns. However, the report was asked to outline all concerns. It was a simple legal concern in regards to the legal ability of the Optimist to guarantee repayment. Then you also mentioned grants. Unfortunately, provincial and federal corporations such as Ontario Trillium Fund usually require in their grants that it could be a municipality or a registered charity. They do not necessarily include not-for-profit corporations. So that's, and we've seen that with other projects such as with Kamlaki Athletic Association, with Wyoming Minor Bowl, where the town was the administrator of the project. The town received the grants for the project. The town applied for the grant for the project and received the donated funds, but that resulted in the town being the administrator. The Optimists are wanting to administer this project because they feel that they can do it in a much more cost-effective manner than we'd be able to, and I cannot deny that statement. So there's some issues that we'll have to work through, and hopefully that we can sit down as a group through those issues, and then with our lawyer's assistance, find a way to mitigate any of those legal concerns.
Okay, thank you. So, I just have a comment now, not a question. So I just want to say I do appreciate the amount of time you've taken. To come up with your design, your location and everything, so. It's, exciting. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Ravasi.
Yes, thank you, your worship. As far as the report goes, I'd like to thank Adam and the Optimist because it was very thorough. I liked some of the answers in there. I didn't like some of the answers and I still have some that are outstanding. This is one of our largest projects that we've undertaken far, in recent years. I think the committee aspect of it is the only way to work through this, to get this to go forward. I've been saying from the start, I want to say yes to this proposal, but as it stands right now, I'm not there yet. So I'm just being honest. One of the issues is the interest-free loan for me. Yes, the town has 7 million-ish in infrastructure reserves, but every part of that, including the interest earned on it, is utilized somewhere. So for me, it's not just a big empty pot of money that we can dip into without affecting somewhere else. The only reasonable account the money should be coming out of is the Parks Reserve, which is not nearly enough money in there to fund this project. But it's also going to move other park improvement projects back for some 10 years. So there's only so much money that we've got to use. And everything we do is going to affect something else. So with that, like I say, I like the idea of the committee. I think that's where we should be going with it. We're just spinning our wheels right now, and I know you're frustrated. That's where I'm at.
Thank you, Councillor Ravasi. Councillor Bojan.
Thank you, your worship. I don't necessarily have questions, but I'm going to borrow Nettie's 1.5 minutes that she didn't use so I can get that. Okay. And Ella can play the music and run me off the stage if I go too long. So I'm going to read off some notes I have on my computer because given the public interest on this agenda item, it deserves a thoughtful, transparent response. So I want to start by thanking the Optimists for the work they put into this. I said it before and I'll say it again. The Optimists are incredibly important to our community at that community center and their ongoing efforts to give back. For this proposal specifically, they've had the added challenge, it's been mentioned already, that they've worked on this project over 2 different councils and 2 different CAOs. So that certainly makes things more difficult and more challenging when it comes to cohesive communication and succession planning as their proposal moves along. So it's important to recognize that challenge. I also want to thank, of course, the public. There's lots of engagement. I'm sure you guys got just as many emails as I did, whether it was concern, support, all different kinds of perspectives. And I personally love seeing engagement, whether it's emails and my phone buzzing, because I think that means it's a healthy community. To switch gears to the staff report, I want to thank Mr. Stefanski for the time put into it. And if anyone here listening or watching hasn't read it, I do recommend reading it. There's a lot of considerations in there to help explain why we're advocating for this extra step to continue this thing to move forward. For the proposal, I fully support the vision for a community hub in the Kamlaki area. This area has grown a lot in the last few years, and it will continue to grow with more and more families making it home. When you look at the community building power of a park like McKay Park here in Wyoming, it's no surprise that having community hubs with a range of rec amenities does wonders for a community. So I think it's important that we invest in new recreational amenities in the Kamlaki area. And the idea of a central hub for Kamlaki is one I can believe and I can buy into. It's not lost on me how impactful the support and the initiative by the Optimists would be to make that happen quickly. But although I love the vision of a community hub and the idea brought forward in the proposal, the biggest hurdle for me has always been the $1 million in funding from the town as a loan. More specifically, how or where do we find that money in such a short time span? This is no surprise to Mr. Moulton or the Optimist because we've had this conversation before, and I've been fully transparent as well. To approve this plan as currently proposed, it's in the staff report, but we would need to find $1 million to provide as a loan. I see a handful of options. One, a one-time 10.5% special property tax levy, which I don't think
anyone here or the public would support. You can pull from our infrastructure reserve, which has kind of already been mentioned, so I won't talk about that too much. Or the town can take a loan out through Infrastructure Ontario, which is mentioned also in the staff report. Where we could borrow the money with interest to loan out. And that's a tool for municipalities to take on long-term debt for infrastructure. But we are probably going to need to use that option for infrastructure projects to improve existing infrastructure. And that's not a reason to say no. I just think you mentioned the hurdles that we need to figure that out and work together. So just to be clear, they're hurdles, they're not reasons to dust our hands and say no. I fully support the recommendation put forward tonight to put our heads together and find a way forward to make something work and empower the optimists to move forward with something that works. I think an ad hoc committee provides a great opportunity to work together to find potential funding alternatives or new ideas that can help make something happen. There's a lot of things going on in that area. The library needs more room. The ball club is expanding. So perhaps there's options here where we can use a reserve like the development charges reserve, which is very specific things within it. But perhaps we can branch these projects and build that community hub creativity with what we're building and what we're empowering the optimists to build. So to wrap up kind of my thoughts here, I think the staff recommendations are good ones. I've been advocating for collaboration since my election campaign, and I think the recommendation of having this committee will lead to good collaboration and empowerment for the optimists. And I think instead of, let's find ways to say yes and not reasons to say no. So I'm in support of the staff recommendation. I don't have any questions because I think those questions should be hammered out at that committee.
Thank
Thank you.
Councilor Bojan. You can breathe now.
Yeah, I'm trying to go fast. 2 minutes. I was like,
You're okay. You're fine. Ella didn't put the music on. Council, thank you very much for your questions and for doing your homework. I think that speaks well for what we're dealing with. I'm not going to read the motion again. I think you all have seen it. You've had a chance to understand it. So I will call for the vote. All those in favor? Unanimous. We will work together. Ad hoc committee, sit down and start rolling up our sleeves.
We do it as soon as possible, please.
We will do it as soon as we can.
Okay. We do need a timeline, and I guess the committee will need to decide who chairs the committee, what the committee consists
I'll
of.
probably be chairing it.
Yeah, perfect. So if we can do it as soon as possible, I believe we have the community, it wasn't mentioned, but all of you know, we did a little survey on Facebook and we had 1,000 people that were in favor of this, and that's only 1,000 people that are still on Facebook. So obviously there is support out there in the community for this project to go forward. And I appreciate everyone's input, and we appreciate Adam's work on the report. Certainly, we want to continue with the flow going forward rather than taking steps backwards. So whatever we can do to get this project going and to get everyone behind it, we would be more than willing to do.
We will be in touch, Mr. Moulton. As we heard Mr. Councilor Bojan said, we've had some changes. We're now moving forward. So. Right. Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you. Thanks everybody for coming.
Gonna have a break?
If you guys would like, you're not sticking around for the rest. Bus back to Kamlaki. So
The bus goes.
Thank you.
We didn't even talk drainage yet.
Don't want to go in.
So much. Goodbye, your worship.
see you later.
There you go.
Council, let's, we're gonna break at 6 o'clock, so let's keep moving her along. Council, going to 6.1. Motion by Council Wilbett, seconded by Deputy Mayor McEwen, that the minutes be adopted by council. Those confidential minutes of the closed sessions of council remain confidential and restricted from public disclosure in accordance with the exemptions provided in the Municipal Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act. That would be our regular council meeting minutes of February the 14th, 2024. Our closed regular council meeting minutes of February the 14th, 2024. Council, you've had an opportunity to review them. Any questions? Call for the vote. All those in favor? Carried. The council will go to item 6.2 on your agenda. Motion by Councilor Bojan, seconded by Councilor Basie. The minutes be adopted by council. Those confidential minutes of the closed sessions remain confidential and restricted from public disclosure in accordance with the exemptions provided in the Municipal Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act. That would be your environmental service committee meeting of November the 2nd, 2023 minutes, our fire executive committee meeting, January the 8th. Minutes of that, the Invercarron drain consideration meeting, as well as the Somerville drain Port of Revision meeting on February the 14th for both of those dates. We have Councillor Van Claveren here for the drainage. We have Councillor Wilbett for the fire, Councillor Bojan for the environmental. If there are any questions. Councillor Wilbett?
I would just make one comment on the fire meeting. And it reads, in those minutes, Chair Wolbett informed the committee that Mr. Freer is taking care of the restoration of the old 32 fire truck. That would be Mr. Brian Freer. Since there's two Freers, one being the chief, and the other being his dad, which is Brian taking care of that. So,
Great.
just a small correction. Thank you.
All right, duly noted. Thank you, Councillor. Anything else? Call for the vote. All those in favor? Carried. Okay, let's go to 6.3, councilors' reports. Deputy?
Bob, did you have anything else besides?
No.
Okay. Are you done? To Mr. Cloud?
Clever, thank you, Deputy Mayor. We had some drainage meetings in regards to the Somerville drain and the Invercarron drain. That's about it for February.
Mr. Belgian?
No official committee meetings, just a subcommittee meeting with the events committee as they hammer out their events, their Easter event. So again, March 30th, Kamlaki Community Center.
I'm glad it was shorter than your last speech.
I can keep going. Still got more I didn't say.
Mr. Vacy. Mr. Vacy?
Oh, yes, thank you for calling on me. Had Parks and Rec last night. We had a very good discussion at Blue Point Park. We decided we're gonna do a site visit March 20th. We're gonna meet at the park just to kind of walk through. It's nothing official. It's just for everyone to walk the grounds and have a look. We will have a public meeting at our Parks and Rec meeting in April to discuss the survey we're gonna send out online, and plus hard copy to the area to get some input on what it is they would like to see out there. And that will be done, like I said, our public meeting. We're probably gonna do it at Kamlaki Community Center, make it easier for them. And like I say, you're welcome to come out on the 20th and walk the walk if you want. The parks tour is set up for May 4th, which is when we go out and inspect all the parks as a group and have a look at what needs to be done and what got damaged for the winter, that kind of thing. So that is set for Saturday, March 4th, bright and early in the morning. Minor Ball was in to talk to us. Wyoming, we didn't hear from, but Kamlaki, that started for the season, so that went well. And our to-do list is being added to as we speak, so we can keep track of what needs to get done. And the gates were ordered for by Bob, so that's already on the works.
Nice.
Very much.
And that's where we're at.
Okay, and that Parks tour is going to be May the 4th, not March.
May the 4th.
I said,
March.
oh, sorry, not. I got May written here.
You said-
Oh, no,
M's get me screwed up all the time.
don't worry.
May 4th, I think it's 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yes, it is.
And our new works department guy will be taking us for lunch afterwards.
That's what I heard last night. Yes.
Haven't set precedents last year. It was very nice of him, so we look forward to it. Oh,
I heard him offer through you. Ms. Rodriguez.
Thank you. When is the public meeting in April?
whatever.
Oh,
It'll be sent out in that flyer when they put the flyer out.
Meeting.
It's
It was the 18th.
18.
Yes.
Meeting.
18th. No, the one in April.
Site visit,
Yeah, March
that
20th.
is March the 20th at 5.
It's the site visit.
And the public meeting is the.
Parks and Rec.
It'll be the 18th.
So we got clarity on that. What's in March? That's the on-site walkthrough.
Committee members that are available are
I
gonna go
can
out.
take you off for the tour if you like.
And
I think we'll leave that with Counselor Basie.
He doesn't live there, so it gets lost.
very easily.
And then May. The date in May again, it wasn't there.
May 4th.
May 4th is just when the committee goes out and inspects all the parks.
And then the
Divvy
8th,
them up and we go around and check it out. Make a list of what needs to get done or improved or fixed or
Yeah.
anything dangerous gets added to that list and then guys work away at it through the spring.
and then April 18th, you have a public meeting at Kamaki Community Center.
Yes.
Good.
Any question?
Yes, well, actually, can I come back? Is it related to that?
Yes, it is.
Go ahead.
I watched part of your meeting last night, Mike. I had to leave, but this survey that you're sending out, is this in response to this visible trail that was being proposed out there that there doesn't seem to be agreement with, or?
Got to do with everything. So it breaks it down into 4 spots, but not limited to any one of them. So we asked to have a ranking put in. Go ahead, Paul, if you wanna. Sure.
Through your worship, if I may, so the clarity, the committee requested that we pare down the survey significantly. So that it just listed a few priority projects. They indicated that perhaps maybe 3. Everyone would list their top 3 priority projects for the area, so that was the direction that staff received.
So this trail that's in question, that's kind of part of it?
So to be very clear about the trail. The trail was a suggestion made by myself during the budget meeting with the committee. It was a simple, hey, what kind of improvements could we make? Well, we could consider a trail. Since that time, the trail has taken on legs of its own, and there is much community concern about it. It remains only as a discussion point. The community will lead the discussion. The community will show us their opinion through the survey and public consultation. And provided it's in the committee's power, the community will lead what the project ends up looking like. But a trail was only a subtle suggestion. It was never approved, endorsed, or even planned. It was a discussion at the committee level.
Things just get out of hand.
Thank you for that explanation.
Yes.
Thank you.
Counselor Rodriguez?
Yes, I'd like to add to that. Your trail idea actually used to be real in a real life situation. Before the new development came in, that closed road there was used all the time as a trail. The park, right up until the park at Blue Point, the treed area, right up until it stopped being maintained, was also used as a trail. So it's not like it never happened. So I want you to take comfort in that it actually used to be used that way in real life. Now, whether anybody wants it anymore, it's different. But I am concerned about the Sunset Park. Better has been put on that park. And I know there was a lot of talk about changing use of it. So I would like to kind of maybe look into that history of that, so it's clear.
I would suggest that would be a discussion to initially occur at the committee level, and then if what the committee decides can come for council for further discussion. I understand it was developed through contributions from the community, so there would be that consideration. But agreed, if the community as a whole would like to see changes to that park, I would suggest that the committee first and then council ensure that the proper research was done to ensure that the persons who helped create that park initially are respected through that process before we change the use of that park or consider changing the use of that park.
I think that was just sort of mentioned when somebody was yapping. And I don't think it was a consideration at all last night. So,
Oh, the change of use for.
yeah,
sunset.
like,
Okay.
yeah, don't run with that.
Okay, well, I just wanted to caution that I think there is some sort of provision put in place. When it was initially done.
No, it's not.
Councillor Basie?
Yeah, just in that survey, there is lots of room to, and that's what we tried to emphasize, that if because there was 3 boxes to check off, right underneath it is other suggestions, like there is a couple of beach accesses there that if they want the money spent on those instead of park stuff, put a priority on what they're looking for was the big overall message we were trying to get out is we only have so much money and here you go. We're trying to get as much feedback as we can. So at the public meeting, we can bring that forward and say, well, here's the majority you're looking at this, and then we can move forward with, if it's playground equipment, then what's it going to cost and what it'll kind of look like. This is what we can afford. If it's a trail, this is what we can do, how much of it we can get accomplished, that kind of thing. So it's more just to get the ball rolling on what you want out there.
Mhm. And you were going to add that provision of the amount of money that is being set aside for this, so it narrows it
It was
down.
suggested, yes.
That was a very good suggestion.
Yes, yeah.
Like I say, we were moving tennis courts and adding an airfield and so.
Bansky?
So, and I observed this last night during, when I was observing YouTube, discussions in regards to beach access.
Go home and just.
No, I made dinner and watched the.
You need to get a life.
Caution when it comes to beach accesses in the Blue Point area. Like many of our former lakefront cottage areas, the ownership of the lakefront portion is of debatable nature. That's why this town historically has only provided beach accesses to areas where we have beachfront property, such as the larger section of Blue Point Park. We have avoided providing beach accesses to narrow road allowances, stormwater outlets, due to the fact that that would, in some opinion, only allow the public to use a 10-ish foot strip of that property. And that's why currently it's suggested that the Blue Point area is underserviced in regards to beach accesses, because the other beach accesses are narrow of nature. The adjacent lands may or may not own the property, so we do not intend to get in that legal discussion. And the bluffing area is very challenging. So that's why we've concentrated our funds on the most reasonable beach access that provides the most enjoyment for the community. There was really good discussion last night about better improving that access, and that would be a key in this situation. But I wanted to just urge some caution due to the history of that area and the challenges in regards to beach ownership.
Thank you.
That's the end of my report.
All right.
Yeah.
You had a lot of people jump in there to help you.
I don't.
We were all had popcorn.
Yeah.
So, are there any other
We have to, I
reports?
think we have to go to Councillor Rodriguez.
I thought she did it.
Did you?
No, I was just asking.
She was just hijacking mine.
I wasn't
Ask her
not.
something, so I.
You had enough time anyway. You're over, we're going on past you now. Go ahead. Do you have anything else you gotta talk about?
Well, just the St. Clair Conservation Authority
Yeah, we saw you there.
annual meeting. Yes, thank you to the mayor and deputy mayor for attending. It was a great show of support. I appreciate it. It's I hope you enjoyed your lunch.
No, I didn't.
Oh, you did?
No, he didn't.
Chicken with blood in it.
Oh.
Mine was good.
That's all that counted. Really.
And as you all know, I am on the executive committee now.
So you put your hand up. Nobody else wanted to be it, so you.
So I wanted to be on it, you're right, because, so my point was gonna be, as with council here, you have offsetting committees that can delve deeper into some of the details of how things are run. So I felt it was important in that sense, especially in the financial aspect of things, to be able to have more input and understand better.
Good.
So that was the
you'll-
purpose.
You'll be able to tell us. We can understand better than too.
Yes, that's what my hope is, share the wealth.
Congratulations.
Did you, yes,
I would like to jump on that report, but I can't
Okay.
think of anything. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Gary had- sorry, Mr. Mayor, have you,
Just a couple things, Deputy. Had an opportunity to meet briefly with Mr. Gatner from the Family Health Team, the Wellness Center. We're looking forward to an announcement coming out in a few weeks ahead. That's gonna be very positive for us. Just a reminder, this clinic is not used for chronic issues. It's a primary clinic for patients to be seen there. And right now, there's 3 nurse practitioners that are rotating through it. They average about 130 visitors a month. So, they're happy with those numbers, but obviously there's a little room for improvement as well. But I'll have further information for you. There's going to be a bit of a splash come forward shortly on that. I've had the opportunity to meet with some residents in the last week or so for some of their concerns. And obviously, we had the opportunity, the deputy and I, to join Councilor Rodriguez at St. Clair Conservation Authority meeting. Well done, good meeting, and congratulations again, Councilor. You'll do a good job there. That's all I have, Deputy. How about you? What have you been doing?
I have, excuse me, I've been busy at the museum. There's activities are going to happen at the museum. They're redoing all the displays. And the museum is applying as a stop on the 175th celebration of Plympton County for the Doors Open tour. And they are going to feature Errol. I think I already mentioned that part once, the featuring Errol and the guy that, you know, started everything, Captain George Hyde, who was the first mayor and first reef, sorry, and warden of Plympton County. And then the D-Day, they're focusing on D-Day in the military room, redoing that whole display because it's the 80th anniversary of D-Day. So hopefully it will end up being a stop on that tour, but you know, maybe other heritage things will be more interesting for people. But it is a good tour, and those guys that talk about it, they're just so passionate. And you almost feel like you're there with George Patton, you know, at their when they did their D-Day stuff. Anyway, that's all. And I've been very busy there helping, you know, move stuff around. I'm tired. And then three meetings in a row this week too. Holy cow.
You got some with crutches next week? You got some battle wounds or?
Deputy, before we move on, what are the current hours and when do they start opening up further?
In May, they're going to have it start their regular basis opening because they're.
I think the council, you heard me say last meeting that we really need to promote and support this museum. It's a very integral part of our community, and I think we're all guilty of not showing our support there as much as we should. So I would encourage you to do that. Okay, council, it's 6 o'clock, but before we move on, take a short break. I'm going to go to 8.1. So, oh, sorry, 7. Any accounts at this time? Yep.
Nothing.
Nothing. Okay, I'm going to go to 8.1 because you know Elizabeth's had a long day here. I have a motion by Deputy Mayor McEwen, seconded by Councilor Rodriguez, that the report by Elizabeth Cummings, Drainage and Engineering Coordinator, dated February 16th, 2024, regarding a request for drain improvement for the Bannister Drain be received. The council appoint R. Dobbin Engineering Incorporated under Section 78 of the Drainage Act to produce a report based on the improvement request received February the 12th, 2024. Ms. Cummings is with us. Any questions? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Carried.
Aren't you glad you stuck around?
Okay, council, it's 6 o'clock. Let's take a 15-minute personal break. For those that are joining with us virtually, we'll be back at approximately 6:15 to continue our meeting at that time. Welcome back, everyone. Council, let's go to item 8.2. Your agenda, I have a motion by Councillor Wolbett, seconded by Councillor Van Claveren. The report by Paul De Silva, Director of Public Works, dated February 15th, 2024, regarding 2024 dust control services be received and that the negotiated method of procurement be approved by council as justified within the report, that the 2023 contract by Denmark Brines Limited to supply, haul, and apply 250 flake equivalent tones at a total cost of $65,750 plus HST be approved by council as an extension of an existing contract. Mr. De Silva is with us. Is there anything that you'd like to add to that report, Mr. De Silva? Thank you. Any questions? Okay, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Carried. Council, let's go to 8.3. A motion by Councillor Van Claveren, seconded by Deputy Mayor McEwen, that the report by Eric Campbell, Fire Chief, dated February 23rd, 2024, regarding the creation of the position of a training coordinator within the Plympton-Wyoming Fire Department be received, and the mayor and council support the creation of a training coordinator position. We have Chief Campbell with us this evening. Chief, anything to add to that before I go to council for questions?
I don't believe so. Very willing to take questions.
My left, any questions? All right, any questions? Okay, call for the vote. All those in favor? Here. Okay, clerk, nothing, anything under 9 bylaws?
No, not at this time.
All right. Let's go to 10.1, council. I have a motion by Councillor Wojcik, seconded by Councillor Basie, that the correspondence relating to the 2024 Blue Water Triathlon be received and the route outlined in the correspondence be approved, and staff be directed to provide traffic signs and barriers for the events. We've had this event for many years, I believe, and I don't think we've had any issues, have we, clerk, that we're aware of?
No, through your worship, I believe she said this year would be their 40th.
Wow, 40 years. That's
So
fantastic.
that's great. They did have to alter their route a bit because of our Michigan line construction. But they're happy to be back and celebrating.
Okay. Any questions on this, council? Councilor Rodriguez?
Thank you. So you mentioned they did have to make an alteration. Just wondering what that was on the map here.
I have the old map I could show you after, but I think they used to go straight across Michigan down.
It's Michigan.
Yeah, they were coming across here, weren't they?
The previous you utilized all of Michigan,
Oh,
Oil Heritage and Mondawmin.
oh,
As
so
we're
this
doing
is,
construction,
The
they
the new route.
oh, okay, I thought you meant, sure, we got them. Yeah. There's another bike.
The Grand Fondo?
Thank you.
Oh, there's an agent?
And they'll likely be asking for the same in the future.
Yes, and I did talk about it at the trust committee because the signage, I remember traveling down Oil Heritage that day and it was very kind of frustrating because there wasn't a lot of heads up that it was happening. So, good signage, safe biking.
Nothing further? Call for the vote. All those in favor? Carried. Council, let's go to item number 11, correspondence and recommended reading and routine approval information items. Moved by Councillor Rodriguez, seconded by Councillor Wolvett. Correspondence items A to S relating to recommended reading and routine approval and information items not otherwise addressed by resolution be noted as received by the Plympton-Wyoming Council and filed accordingly. On my left, Councillor Wolvett, anything for you?
A couple things in there, but really it's information. The one on the Plympton County Rural Games, that's something that I'm sure if any new councilors here have ever been to one of their evenings, but when they do set a date for it, it is quite an interesting evening to go to, and they usually have a pretty good meal to go along with it, and there will be tickets available here. Usually tickets available here for, I don't know how many, 5 or 6 people to go if you want, so,
I believe it's $250 that we pay for
yeah.
5 or 10 on this, somewhere in that area.
I don't think it's happened since COVID.
We haven't.
Last year was the first one out in Winston. This year, I believe it's going to be held in Sarnia. Deputy Warden White is the chair of it, and it will be at the Sarnia Legion.
Okay, good. The only other thing, Mr. Mayor, that I would mention is this on the MTO license plate renewals. Not even sure what it's saying. Whether they're bringing the stickers back or what. Oh,
Get rid of all of it.
No, they're not getting rid of any of it. They're just doing automatic renewals for you. Because everybody's forgetting to renew them.
oh,
So they're, but it still won't affect like people who owe fines and stuff.
The reason I bring it up because at our last council meeting, there was a letter in there wanting the municipality to go and ask the government to please put the stickers back on. I was gonna say. Okay,
So-
good explanation.
Yes, the letter was provided directly to myself. The intent of the letter is to reassure the municipalities who utilize the MTO to lay parking fines, et cetera, that even though there is no renewal requirements as there was in the past, that if you have outstanding fines, they will still ensure that the municipalities are receiving payment for those fines through the same processes as before.
And I will also, Mr. Mayor, single out S right at the bottom.
Yes.
This is from a fellow deputy mayor in Petrolia. Wanting to combine the Ogre Roma back to one. I think we should support that. I know they've split them up, but it used to be one, and I don't know if anybody's read it or not. This comes from a fellow, like say Deputy Mayor Joel Field. I'd like to,
It's Mandy Pearson, but that doesn't matter.
so instead of having AMO and then having good roads, they're both together. So,
It makes it less prohibitive, it's stated.
yeah, so it's cheaper for municipalities, and then you'll have 2 conferences, so. Maybe the rest don't.
Make it a day longer or whatever, that was easier to get another day than it is.
The only thing that I would say, I'd been to it when it was combined, it is a lot more people. You're talking a couple thousand people, maybe 2,500 instead of 1,000 or 1,200, but still, you didn't need to go to 2 different conferences 6 weeks apart. So anyway, can we, I don't know if anybody wants to support this or not.
Would you like to,
We'll get to-
would you like to have it pulled and supported?
Yes,
Clerk, you can make note of that, please.
if the council agrees. Go.
Anything else under that?
That's all, sir. Thank you for my time.
Okay, Councillor Van Claveren.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do have one, the letter L. The County of Lambton is celebrating Heritage Champions, and we can suggest someone for that honor. So I've started the process to honor Dr. Masonry Incorporated right here in town for their work specifically on the old hotel. And so I've reached out to them, and they're okay for me to suggest them. And so there's a little bit of work to prepare an application, and then if they're chosen, then they're kind of highlighted in the community for that. So that's something, I don't know if that's something we could do as a council, or we could all do it individually, or they're doing great work over there, and it's just, maybe it's an interesting opportunity to be able to highlight that.
I think probably it would have more merit as council if we work together on doing that. So if you'd like to pull that,
Yes, please.
Mr. and we'll deal with that in a second to
Okay.
show your support on it.
Wonderful.
Okay, anything else?
That's all for me. Thank you.
Okay, Deputy? Okay, Councillor Rodriguez, anything from you?
Yes, thank you. That's good. So I have, excuse me, P, Q, and S, I believe. Bob already said S, so
You want to go with P first, Counselor?
Okay, so P, I do not want to support, obviously. It goes in the opposite direction of what we talked about in our last council meeting, where there was a letter from Union or Onbridge asking for support. Natural gas moving. Obviously that letter went to this council, and then they wrote a letter of resolution to totally ask for it to natural gas, not to support Onbridge. But the federal government or the provincial government has already put forth a bill to I forget what it's called. Trying to find it. More cost-effective heating in Ontario, which will allow them to kind of curtail the OEB and make sure that natural gas is moving for our area, where and adjacent areas that really for these projects to move ahead. So it's good that the government is stepping in to help this move forward.
Do you have a comment on that one?
Yes, I do have an update on that matter, actually. So, Sarnia Lambton Economic Partnership is actually working with Enbridge to meet with local municipalities, identify their concerns, and see if those municipalities are willing to support Enbridge's letter in regards to having the OEB increase the rates. I am going to be attending a meeting with our representative from SLIP, as well as representatives from Enbridge, so that they can discuss the matter. One reason I asked for the meeting above and beyond just bringing the motion back to council is that a number of drainage superintendents have brought to the attention of our working group that like CN, Enbridge is starting to attempt to write out the Drainage Act from their franchise agreements. There's been numerous municipalities where the franchise agreements have come back to the municipalities without provisions to follow the Drainage Act, and actually have said that they're not subject to the Drainage Act. The municipalities rightfully so refused to sign those, and now they're at the OEB for a decision. So I would have a hard time supporting Enbridge and increasing their costs if they're not going to continue to support rural municipalities in their draining of agricultural properties and of their urban areas. The Drainage Act is meant to allow for urban areas and farms to be drained effectively. And if a utility, roadway, railway gets in the way, those utility, roadway, railway pay for those additional costs. As with CN, they don't feel that they should be paying those additional costs. So it could be a challenging sticking point. However, I thought a verbal discussion with the Enbridge team prior to bringing it to council was worth having before we form a letter to bring to council.
I think too, we've had over the years, Enbridge has always assured us that they're going to expand the gas production out into our municipality, where our farmers, as Councilor Rodriguez has touched on, have needed the natural gas for their dryers and their equipment and stuff like that. But this seems to be about as far as it goes. So,
sorry, and rightfully so, it's because of the OEB, whose stance is the federal government is creating this mandate to get rid of fossil fuels. So why should we be allowing these projects to proceed if it's just going to be for nothing? So that's kind of where Onbridge was at a standstill, not of their own making, so to speak. And I think there's two very different issues at play here. The need for cost-efficient heating and the fact that we're having problems with drainage costs.
it seems to be round and round.
There was some reluctance even before it was Enbridge, when it was still Union Gas.
Gas, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of rural properties were calling for natural gas, even back then. That's a number of years ago.
Do you have another one, Cal?
Yes, I do. Thank you. Which I also felt was noteworthy. And I think it's a resolution. Let me just Q. Resolution, County of Run-Through Water and Wastewater. I found this one very interesting. Kind of spoke to some of what we in a very big way talked about in planning the other night. But it also speaks to the need that our wastewater system is, due for an upgrade and the costs associated, the bleeding costs. That's what this municipalities face, where, they're a much smaller municipality, but they're paying upwards of $3,000 a year, some of these folks, absorbent costs that are just no longer takeable, trying to meet these infrastructure servicing level needs. And they're pleading to the government, look, if you want us to keep up with this growth that you want to mandate, if you want to, rural municipalities just don't have the resources or finances to get these infrastructures upgraded, and we need you to make some movement here and do something about it and start providing some funding if this is the way you want to see things go, because it's just not attainable. And they showed real hard numbers there about how unrealistic it is for smaller municipalities like ourselves. So I think it's a worthwhile one to support, because obviously it's something we struggle here with all the time.
That's number Q, correct?
Well, it's a letter.
Right? Do you have anything else?
Nope, that was it. Thank you.
Counselor Basie?
Nothing, your worship.
Counselor Bojan?
Nothing further.
Okay, let's circle back to Counselor Wolvette. You had yours on that S number, I believe.
That's correct, sir.
And you, if I'm understanding correctly, you'd like to support that.
Bring the two together again, yes.
I know there had been some chatter on that, but that seems to be about as far as it went.
Yeah.
Do we have a seconder for Counselor Wolvette's motion? Counselor Rodriguez, okay.
We'll do that one after we. finish
Okay.
that. Yeah.
Counselor Van Claveren, yours was the
Yes, L.
county from
Yes.
Plympton. We have a seconder for Counselor Claverens, Counselor Wolvette. And that would be that we support that as a group to put Mr. Doctor's name in.
Yes.
And then we go to Counselor Rodriguez. You had the Q. You'd like to support that? Okay. We need a seconder for Counselor Rodriguez's. Counselor Van Claveren. Oh, sure, sorry. Okay, I have a motion by Counselor Rodriguez, seconded by Counselor Wolvette. Correspondence items A to S relating to recommended reading and routine approval and information items not otherwise addressed by resolution be noted as received by the Plympton-Wyoming Council and filed accordingly, save and accept for items S and Q. All those in favor? Carried. I have a motion by Counselor Wolvette, seconded by Counselor Rodriguez. The council supports correspondence items S in the town of Petrolia regarding Roma Imperial Good Roads Association returning to combined conference. All those in favor? Carried. And I have a motion by Counselor Van Claveren, seconded by Counselor Wolvette. The council nominate Dr. Masonry as a Lambton County Heritage Champion in the Lambton County Heritage Champions Award. All those in favor? Carried. Good choice, sorry.
Good over there. Did you see the new little piece they put on a couple of days ago?
Every day you go by something.
Everything. He has his little fellas up there with him, because he owns the building. His young guys can be up there, but they're strapped off in hard helmets and just.
By the fire hall.
Yeah, they're going concerned.
Just to add to that conversation, Mr. Doctor did apply for the facade grant program. Council will be receiving that grant application next meeting.
And I have a motion by Counselor Rodriguez, seconded by Counselor Van Claveren, that council supports correspondence item Q in the county of Renfrew regarding water and wastewater management. All those in favor? Carried. Where they go. Okay, let's go to item number 12, new business. Counselor Rodriguez, anything new for you?
Thank you. There's there's gonna be a Women in Leadership Conference, being held in Wyoming on Saturday, April 15th from 9 to 3.
Location.
Legion. And I will be one of the panelists.
Another picture with Christine. See it. Congratulations, that's great.
So it's nice that they're holding it here in down here, and you're gonna have a local representative.
Is that online now? Is there any advertisements for that or?
There is. I can actually send you guys all a link for it. Tickets are $35. So if you want to come out and support your fellow counselor.
And it's very nice that you're covering our cost count.
Well, that's what we brought pizza today. No, I'm just kidding.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Counselor Baisey.
Nothing, your worship?
Okay, Counselor Bojan.
Nothing at this time, thank you.
Okay, Deputy.
Nothing, thank you.
Counselor Van Clever.
Thank you, sir.
Counselor Wolvet.
No, sir.
All right, declare that business closed, and we'll move on to item number 13, where we're going to be going into a closed session. I have a motion by Counselor Van Claveren, seconded by Counselor Wolvet. The council move into an in-camera meeting of council pursuant to section 239 of the Municipal Act 2001, is amended for the following reasons. It may propose land acquisition matter. Section 239, bracket 2, bracket C, a proposed or pending acquisition, disposition of land by the municipality or local board. All those in favor? Carried. For those that are joining with us virtually, we thank you very much for your joining us this evening. We will be in camera probably for 15 to 20 minutes and returning to close down the meeting this evening. Thank you for your time and thank